Disney does it again. No, actually, this time I think it's DreamWorks, another casting controversy, hiring a black actress to play a white character. It feels like everyone is just doing this on purpose now, but not for like DEI purposes or like wokeness or whatever you want to call it, but like just good outrage marketing. Anyways, it's for the live action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon. Now, before you jump to conclusions, I'll admit I could go either way on this, whether I support or criticize these casting decisions depend on the context. So let me break this down from both perspectives. Why it bothers me. First, I'll be honest, I don't always like it when studios do this. For me, it's something kind of feels like a form of blackface with extra steps. Hear me out. They take a white character from a predominantly white fantasy world, one steeped in white cultural elements, and then cast a black actor in that role. It often feels like it's done to please black viewers rather than to enhance the story or create authentic representation. Take The Little Mermaid as example. The character's blackness doesn't shape the narrative or the world that they inhabit. If they were going to change the fantasy universe to reflect the new cultural context, I'd be more open to it. But admittedly, that would probably cause even more backlash than simply just switching out the characters, so maybe not a good idea. But that brings me to my main point. Stop repurposing existing characters already. Just create new ones. Look at Black Panther. He's not a black version of any existing white superhero, I think. He's just a superhero, period. Or consider The Princess and the Frog. While people may criticize how much, what's her name, Tiana, I think, spent as a frog, at least her story is deeply tied to black culture. She's from Louisiana and she incorporates elements of voodoo magic and southern traditions. Compare that to The Little Mermaid though, which despite evidence of Syrian mythological origins, mermaids and The Little Mermaid, to me, have a lot more Scandinavian aesthetics and all that. Similarly, the Vikings. The backdrop of How to Train Your Dragon are undeniably tied to white European culture. That said, How to Train Your Dragon is a fantasy world, dragons and all. The historical and cultural context matters less in a story like this. I've only seen the first movie, but I don't recall the character's whiteness being integral to the plot. If the story, hinged on that being that way, or they were really trying to tell like the Vikings TV show or something like that, casting a black actor, other than that, casting a black actor really shouldn't be a big deal. Like, this is a fantasy cartoon world. If we were to take House of Dragon, for example, where they completely changed House Valerian, and I'm sure people, had an uproar about that too, but I like the show, and though it's not Game of Thrones, House of Dragon still stands on its own as a pretty good show, to the point where I don't think about the blackness of these characters that much really or at all, and I think most people have gotten over it. Let's also talk about precedent. Casting changes happen all the time, by the way. People complained when Ariel in The Little Mermaid was black, but no one seemed to mind when the character like Fox from Wanted, originally black based on Halle Berry, was played by Angela Jolie, or the real-life Asian gamblers in 21 were whitewashed to a pretty much majority white cast. And don't forget Dragon Ball Evolution, where Goku, a Japanese character, was played by a white actor from Canada. These casting decisions only seem to really get an outroar when it affects one type of people for some reason. Now let's look at the actress Nico Parker. First off, Nico is so fair. If it wasn't for her hair and the fact that she's the spitting image of her mom, at least in my opinion, I'd have just assumed she was white. Her father is the director Oliver Parker, directed Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and her mom is the incredible Tandy Newton, who's known for standout roles in like Westworld and The Chronicles of Riddick. For me personally, I really liked her in those roles, but she's done a ton of stuff. Nico herself is already proven her acting chops with her role as Joel's daughter in The Last of Us, where she delivered an emotional, gut-wrenching performance in a pivotal scene. Spoiler, it's her death scene, but this was her death scene and the girl died like a champ. Physically, she resembles the original animated character, at least in this photo, to the point where it really shouldn't be an issue of look. If anything, her lighter skin tone and mixed heritage make her more suitable than other recent casting controversies. She has the talent, the look, and the lineage to pull this off, so I don't really see where people are still complaining about this kind of stuff. Final thoughts, at the end of the day, what really matters is whether the movie is good, and not harassing little girls. I don't know who needs to hear that, but don't do that. poor script or bad direction will ruin the film, not the racial casting decisions. There's been some hits and misses with live action adaptations, so the real question isn't can Nico Parker embody this role, but can the studio deliver a faithful and enjoyable adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon, which hinges on feels because feelings don't care about your facts. If it feels good, if it feels like a good movie, it's probably a good movie. At least for the people that it feels good for. Alright guys, that's it for today. I just popped up on my Twitter feed, so I figured I'd talk about it. But I am already tired of talking about this. I feel like my last 3 videos were just about racial casting decisions. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time when I can get back to regular movie analysis.